Well, that's right. We want to see what's going on in the maritime sector in Nigeria. Following up on that report, there's been also conversations around indigenous ship owners accusing foreign shipping firms of breaching the cabotage law, calling on the federal government to clamp down on foreign vessels operating in the nation's coastal water illegally. Well, I want to look at the issues around that and the reports you just watched now, talking about what's going on in the maritime. We've talked about crude oil theft for a couple of months now, trying to find solutions to that. Well, let's have someone who is in that industry. We have Mr. Festus Mbisiogu, who is the Chief Executive Officer of Blue Diamond Logistics Limited. He joins us here in the studio. Mr. Mbisiogu, thank you so much for your time this morning.
Thank you for having me. Thank you
so much. We hear of what's going on our waters, and the issue of crude oil thefts is also happening on the waters. Share with us, I know that's not your core area, but just share with us from your perspective as a stakeholder in the maritime industry. What's going on really? Why are we hearing of so much crude oil thefts these days on our waters? Why now? What's going on?
Well, I want to start by saying that the present administration have just waken up to their responsibility by dictating some of these things that is happening in our waterways. These things have been there for a very long time, and there is this committee that was set up, and that committee is working tirelessly to ensure that they discovered why we're having this oil theft.
So, okay, but it's obviously been going on for a while.
Yeah, it has been going on.
It's just now that we are getting to talk about it, not to know. I think a lot of us know. And then we also see ship owners complaining that they are being shortchanged.
Yes, one of the case of the ship owners, the indigenous ship owners, they complained 2 days ago, or it's like they alerted the nation of what is ahead of them. That's in the sense that Dangote refineries is about to commence next year, middle of next year. And fertilizer, Dangote fertilizer is almost coming on board. And these ship owners, the law, in fact, let us understand this cabotage law first. When we have the insight of the cabotage law, why it was created. The law was created to protect the indigenous ship owners in the country, giving them that access to dominate this very maritime sector. But now they are complaining that they don't have this very financial capacity to compete with the foreign ship owners. And there is this intervention from this financing fund from the government, about $350 million that the government proposed to give to these guys. And these actors have not had access to this very fund. And they are complaining, look, government, something is coming up next year. These foreign ship owners are gearing towards what is going to happen if Dangote refineries kicks up. And they don't have the financial capacity. They're asking government disburse this money to us for us to compete. In fact, what they're doing is to alert the government that this is what is coming up. And if they do not take proactive measures, there will be capital flights, meaning that these ship owners, foreign ship owners, will make the money and take it back to their own country. So it's a welcome development, and I pray that government will just listen to their call.
Yeah, we pray that the government will listen, and so that at the end of the day, we're not celebrating, because I know we've been waiting for Dangote refineries for a while, and we keep talking about it. We're expectant that with it coming on board, there will be some changes on the scene. But
no, just like I said before, they are just trying to be proactive, and it's a welcome development. See, their fear is this: if Dangote refinery takes up next year, the fertilizer too is ongoing. There's a whole lot of activities in that maritime sector, and with that activities now, they don't have enough fleet. They don't have enough fleet to compete with these foreign investors. So they are telling government, please, if you don't do anything urgent, these guys will dominate. And the essence of this law will be defeated.
All right. So now let's talk about our waters. You trade on water, you do logistics on water. How safe are waters? And we've heard a lot of reports of goods or ships coming in and berthing in neighboring countries,
Yeah.
you know, and then I think people like you would now move those things to Nigeria and all that. And with the deep blue projects, we thought things like this would be in the past. Is it working?
Well, but if you can look at the current rating from maritime, international maritime sector, they told us that Nigerian waterways are safer now to compare with the previous years. That was the rating that was released last few weeks. So that's why I said the present administration seems to be doing well in that very regard, because it's in their own regard, in their own regime, that we start discovering of these oil depths and discovering of this, some of the things happening in waterways.
But has it stopped foreign ships from berthing in neighboring waters instead of coming directly to Nigeria?
No, okay, maybe you can now expand it. Why some foreign ship preferred other countries, like the neighboring border countries,
Cotonou,
and the rest of them, is a result of the conjunction of what is going on here in our country. Let me just digress more. When you talk of logistics, what we are discussing about the management of the inflow, okay, of goods or services from the original place to the final destination, right? So, and to meet companies' objective or customers' needs. These are the essence of logistics. But now, this essence is being hampered with because of so many things that is going on at the seaport. Maybe we are going to discuss furthermore. You see some of the impediments or some of the obstacles that some importers or business owners are having of consigning their consignment into their country here. It's not only because of the waterways are not safe. There's other things that makes this shipping company to stop at Cotonou and use smaller vessels to bring their consignment down to our country.
What
There's
are
other
those
factors.
Other
factors are so many of them, like congestion at the seaport here. Before. In fact, there's so many of them. Like, let me start me as a shipper from China, Blue Diamond Logistics. We find out that if you want to ship your consignment to Cotonou, it's about 1,000 to 2,000 different. The charges, they may charge you $7,000, but sending to Cotonou, they may charge you $5,000. And I want to know more. The reason why they charge this price is because if they send this cargo to Nigeria, it took them almost 2 months to have access to their empty containers because of this bureaucracy, because of these difficulties hampering the logistics section. So these are the factors. There are so many of them, which I may not have time to give more insight.
So what should we do about it?
I think what government should do about it, there are so many of them, because if government does not take proactive steps now, a whole lot will happen. As I speak to you now, many importers don't consider it wise sending their cargoes to our port. They prefer Cotonou port. Okay, reason why, they said it took them almost 2 weeks. When a container land at our seaport, it took almost 1 or 2 weeks to transfer that container to the private bonded terminals. Almost 1 or 2 weeks to transfer. And also, if on the port of clearing this, after clearing this container from that bonded terminal, the kinds of agencies that stop them on the road are so many. The thing is frustrating them. Now, why at Cotonou do you pay a lesser duty? If the cost of clearing 40 feet is about 7 million naira in Nigeria, Cotonou, if you convert it to Nigerian, about 3.5 or 4 million naira, about 30% discount from the total cost of clearing it here in Nigeria. So most of them prefer doing their business there, and it's at the detriment of our national economy development.
And of course, like you said, it's at the end of the day when we calculate our GDP, these are some of the things that we are missing at the end of the day when we calculate.
And that is why government need to pay attention to our logistics, this maritime sector, and try to do more research and find out some of these impediments.
Well, you are the research. That's why we're asking you the question.
Yes.
What should they be doing?
So now, let me just give you, the maritime sector, the revenue as of 2021 to 2020 is about 1.3 billion from the customs, almost 28% of our national budget. That is what they contributed. And in logistics sector, industry, they are the highest employer of labor. Okay? And
after agriculture?
After agriculture. The largest economy. That's one of the largest, if I can put it this way. Okay? And all over the world, if any country pays attention to logistics section, honestly speaking, it will attract more inflow of foreign direct investment, and also bring in more dollar because of the effectiveness. Let me just give you more insight now again, just as I enumerated before. For us businessmen, we factor in the cost of bringing these containers down to our final destination. And as I speak to you now, the cost is going so high, very, very high. Okay. As I said before, apart from me being into manufacturing, into logistics, I'm also into manufacturing. Some of the truck that we send to other parts of the country, like the Abuja, Kaduna, Jos, and so on, that truck has been on the road for more than 1 week, more than 1 month and 1 week, some 3 weeks, because of this flooding. Okay? And that hampers logistics. With this, it's too difficult for an economy like Nigeria to grow.
Okay, so let's go back to that empty container issue you talked about.
Okay.
Because I think management of the empty containers at the port has been a headache for a while.
Yeah.
How is it done in other places, other countries? How do they manage that? Because sometimes when we talk about congestion at the port or on the way to the port, we check and then we see that it's the empty containers being returned to the port that also causes a major part of that congestion.
Yeah.
Now, you've also mentioned it, it's also a discouraging factor, the way it is being managed.
Yeah.
How is it being managed outside Nigeria?
Yeah, okay, let me use China as a case study, where we domicile, and Dubai as a case study. You know, in these very areas, they have good roads, okay? They planned their cities, meaning where these ports are located. A specific area, a particular area is being a kind of mapped out for these holding bays of these empty containers. That have been structured. But over here in Nigeria, we don't have that very structure. You can see somebody who have an bonded terminal far, almost how many kilometers from the seaport, and accessing this very terminal where these containers will be kept will be too difficult. Too difficult for for them to convey their empty container to that very place. So the system is faulty from beginning. It wasn't well planned. That's why the bonded terminals or the holding beds are scattered all over. So the structure, we need to replan a kind of that's why some people are calling for more creation of additional port, either in the southeast and so on, so that it can help to decongest Lagos, because attention focuses in Lagos here.
But even those ports in those other states are not as active as Lagos. It seems, in spite of the fact that we do have ports in other places.
Look at the population in Lagos. You can't compare.
So how can we redirect traffic to these other states?
I think Lagos State is doing something by this Lekki Free Zone. That will also help. If that's commenced, it will also help to decongest what are passing through at seaport.
But it will still be in Lagos.
It will still be, but the place has been created, so it will help.
All right,
Mr.
Ambissiogu, thank you so much for sharing your thoughts with us. Chief Executive Officer of Blue Diamond Logistics Limited. Thank you so much for your time this morning.
Thank you for having me. Thank you so much. Thank you.
All right, so we'll take a break now. After the break, we'll head to AFEX Commodities Market, see how they did for the week ended the 24th of October. To join us again after this break.